Welcome back to the Coach's Corner, brought to you by Morph, for another in-depth coaching conversation. Each month, we sit down with top practitioners, Morph clients, and pioneers across the coaching ecosystem to explore the future of workplace coaching. Introducing your Morph hosts, Allie and Sebastian. Grab a seat. You are in.
Hello and welcome back to the Coach's Corner. Today I'm super excited to turn the tables around and we get to learn all about Boss's journey and the creation of Morph. So, hi Boss, how are you today?
Hi Allie, I'm great, thanks. I'm happy to be here. I hope everything's well on your end.
Yeah, all's well here. Super excited to dive in today. Before we get into the nitty-gritty of everything that is Morph, maybe let's kick off with maybe a difficult question, but a very broad type of question. Why don't you give us your definition or explain what coaching means or is for you?
That's a very good question. And I immediately feel that you're putting me on the spot here. Because usually I am the one to ask the questions, and now I get to share my thoughts and ideas. But a very good place to start. Honestly, I think the definition of coaching that is used by the ICF is actually one that really resonates with me. And maybe it's not very new or it's not very unique, but they describe coaching as a creative partnership, right? That is focused on maximizing the personal and professional potential of individuals. And I just think that is really spot on. Though at Morph, we do like to add a little something to that definition because the work that we do, it is really action-oriented and outcome-driven. We have a nice framework that helps us be that and do that. So that there's definitely some structured guidance that we can add to the definition in the work that we do.
I love that.
So yeah, that's it, I think.
That's awesome. It kind of reminds me of a conversation we had a few weeks back where we talked about adding some science to the art of coaching. And I think that's something really beautiful that Morph specifically is able to do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, spot on. That is really what we strive to add to the world of coaching.
Amazing. And speaking of what Morph is going to add to the world of coaching, maybe we can dive into this big picture now. Like, what is Morph? And for you, what's making it different than what other coaching providers might offer?
Excellent. Yeah, no, good question. Again, you must have prepared yourself for this conversation. No, let me take you back to the beginning of where Morph started. Because I think where I learned the skill of coaching and where I got to apply it for the first time in an organization and see it thrive and flywheel around the organization was in my previous job, 2019, it's 6 years ago already. I got the chance to start a company from the ground up for a large Dutch holding together with in a small transformation team. And this was let's say a diversification effort of this large company. They're very big in IT recruitment. And for their growth plans, they really wanted to become more of a knowledge partner for their clients. And this was a very small step in that direction, but really a new venture for them. And the big change in the way that they were working there was really that now they were going to become an employer to lots of IT professionals that they wanted to send out on missions. And we had this very big question, big question. How do we become a good employer to these people, right? And how are we going to be a place where people want to be and deliberately choose to be every day? Because consulting world in Belgium, where the work was, is highly competitive. And the base salary and compensation package is simply not something that you attract talent with, let alone keeping them with you once they have signed with you. What we did there, in retrospect, where my coaching journey started or where Morph was born, was right there. In the early stages, we made the strategic decision to give everyone in the company, all the consultants, access to a professional coach to work with on their personal development, but also to reflect on their work, their practice, the challenges they were faced with at work. And really the result was on the individual level, and I've seen it for myself from up close, that we had a workforce of people that were highly engaged and brought the best versions of themselves to work every day. It had an effect on their performance, their well-being, and their engagement with the. Well, this is where the business component came in. It is where the company got a lot of its success from. We were able to grow faster than our competition. We didn't lose a lot of people along the way as we were growing. And we were really, really very successful. Today it's a very flourishing company. It has 50 consultants working for them. The coaching department is big. I'm still in close touch with the coaches that are working there now, and they're building communities of practice. They have a large library of different coaching programs that they're doing. So I feel like that they're having lots of fun with what we started there. And for me, when my time came to an end there, I decided that this was the most special and impactful thing I had done there. And I want to help other companies with it as well. And this is where Morph was born. I took a couple of months to develop the model further, to really make it scalable, to find a tech solution that would be able to help us deliver our services. I found Dima, our co-founder. Yeah, today, so to come back to your question after this long monologue, Morph is a workplace coaching company that offers a scalable coaching model that links individual growth to company challenges or company transformation, mostly in the area of growth, culture, engagement, retention, these big meaty problems that are quite pervasive in companies that work with larger groups of people and have larger groups of staff.
Oh, it's such an amazing offering, and it's really cool to hear like how this came to fruition for you, where it began in your career along the way, and to where it's flourished now. You were touching on something in your story or your journey that I'd like to maybe uncover a layer further. And it's talking about, I guess, coaching not being just for those top leadership executives anymore and offering it to, I believe you said, the organization as a whole. So to bring that a little bit further, why do you believe it should be available across all levels of a company?
Well, I'm preaching to the choir here if I say that coaching has a transformative effect on the individual, right? And we know the effects of it. We see it as a big missed opportunity that most of the coaching budget right now is allocated to the top tiers of the organizations. This is usually, we see it, the top coaches in the field, they are all leadership coaches or executive coaches. Organizations are known to have budget available for these stakeholders, these groups of people within the organization. And our big, let's say, value proposition or our big idea is that what can happen? What happens if you break open the access to coaching to other parts of the organization, right? Across teams at every level, because that's what we've seen. We've seen at Vibe Group, it can do amazing things for the whole organization and not just the individual that receives coaching. And I'm not trying to say that leadership coaching is not important. It is very important because those shoulders carry the heaviest weight. Let's say the knock-on effect of coaching that happens at the leadership level can be truly great. We're just saying that we believe that every performer, everyone that has responsibilities and wants to make the most out of their work, careers, right, the impact at their organization, they deserve to work with a coach.
And I think it makes sense too, like everyone's kind of pointed in the same direction or has the same shared purpose in an organization and kind of coaching people towards that. It makes me think of an analogy, right? Like if you have a car and you need to go a bunch of miles, it doesn't work for you if only, say, the engine is functioning. And let's use the engine as the top execs. You also need the wheels aligned. You need, all the doors on the car. You need everything to function to be able to make it to your destination. So it sounds to me a lot like Morph is able to, if we're using the car analogy, fix the whole car and not just work on the engine. Is that fair?
I think it's a great analogy.
Awesome. I love that. So obviously all of these different organizations, they're going to have their own particular challenges or their own problems that they might be looking to solve. So for you and in your perspective, what kind of business problems are your clients most often trying to solve when they're coming to you to work with you as a coach?
Yeah, that's it's interesting that you say it like this. In principle, Morph is designed to tackle any type of change initiative. I think because we have the presence and we get to work with individuals, all the individuals in the group, it's a very powerful vehicle to tackle a large degree of problems. And indeed, all problems across companies are different. So for us in the early stages, the challenge was to zoom in on a few of them that we think are the most pervasive or have the biggest impact on organizations. From research that we've done ourselves, we come to the conclusion that there's, let's say, 4, maybe 5 essentials that we think we can help companies with the best. And the first one is retention. Retention is it's a big hidden cost. I don't want to get into the specifics or into the numbers, but let's say that every person that leaves, right, it has direct hiring costs that accumulate. There's loss of productivity. Probably the person that is about to leave, these voluntary leavers, they probably lose their engagement and productivity a few months before they leave. And before you know it, the numbers say that it can go up to 125% of their annual salary, which is the total cost of one leaver. And we really think that leavers, especially voluntary leavers, they can be reduced. I know that Industry averages in Belgium is about 12%. That is way too high, and it's just not necessary.
I know from personal experience that the retention problem is a costly problem for organizations. Being able to solve some of that, that's huge for companies. But yeah, please continue. Keep telling me.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think the cost that is saved from retention, the total cost of any coaching program that we offer, right, can be salvaged by just saving one lever and keeping them to stay. It is that costly. Now, secondly, a very big problem, and this is something that I've also experienced myself in the past, is engagement. Engagement is at an all-time low, and if I just speak from my own personal experience, sometimes it is very hard to stay engaged with the mission and the vision of a company when everyone is overwhelmed or managers are under-equipped or under-supported, and there's not a lot of time and attention available for me, my growth, the guidance that I might need. It's a big productivity waster. And what I just said about management, as well as my guidance and growth as an employee, those are the number 3 and 4 that we tackle, because managers in general are very overwhelmed and they are really at risk of operation failure in many cases. And because they are overwhelmed, under-equipped to lead, right, and to help people in the coaching and in guidance, it has a major knock-on effect on the people that they work with. That is definitely something that it's a big part of a big area that we are active in. And then indeed, the guidance that I need and the development I want as talent within the organization, very big one. I think the biggest problem is related to retention. If people leave, it's very hard to develop them, right? And I know that lots of companies, they have a big desire to grow their own leaders, the leaders of tomorrow internally. But very few companies have an actual formal L&D strategy in place, or a structure in place that can do that and guide that. And coaching is a very powerful vehicle to develop your own leaders, right? By doing leadership training for the managers to make them better leaders and make them more resilient to deal with the high work pressure, but also the staff and the talent that you have and you would like to develop into becoming your future leaders.
I love that. And
that's a big thing.
Yeah, I love this focus on developing future leaders or developing up some of the managers that might exist. I know this is a problem that's very pervasive in other industries as well. I've seen it in my career in, say, entertainment industries. A lot of people are sometimes thrust into a management or leadership position that they might be under trained for. So providing this it's huge. You can't even really put a value to it in some ways because they're so hungry for that. So I love that Morph is doing this.
Yeah. No, you're exactly right. And there's also quite some shocking numbers of depression and burnout rates that occur right after getting promoted into a leadership position because of this. It's a real thing. Yeah, it's a real thing.
And of course, that impacts beyond just that manager. It impacts the culture. It impacts the productivity and the organization as a whole. So if we can do anything to remedy that, I think that's well.
Yeah, exactly. Another point that we are working with, it kind of relates to the previous point of internal talent development. It's future skills. We know that the world is very fast changing very fast around us, and you can't buy the skills that you need in today's marketplace. Future skills planning, right? Workforce planning for the skills you need to get where you want to be in 5 years' time is also a very big thing. And I think that our targeted solutions, right? The library that we have developed with our coaching programs that we can offer as training plus some coaching in a one-to-many setting is a great answer to that as well. Because it's simply survival. It's a matter of survival. You need to develop these skills among people.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And you kind of lead me into my next question for you. So you're talking about these services that we might offer at Morph. Can you walk us through how Morph programs actually work in practice?
Yeah. There's to keep it short, because I can go on for days about this. To keep it short, there's 2 components of it. The first one is the top level. It's the organizational part, where I work together with our clients, where we do design workshops to get a feeling for where the organization stands today, what the challenges are, what the goals might be they would like to achieve. And I create with the team, let's say, a transformation plan. And this is kind of the big, let's say, high-level assignment that we then take to our coaches, who we ask, okay, this is where they are, this is where they want to be in 2-3 years' time. How would you approach designing a coaching program, right? Which frameworks would you leverage, or what do you think is the most effective for this exact population. We usually know who we are going to work with, and then we co-create a coaching program so that we do what we are best at, right? And because we understand that it is not the interest, or maybe not within the skill set of the coaches that we work with, to do the organizational part, right? To guide these change projects. And at the same time, we love to use all the skills and expertise that our coaches bring to the table. And for them, it is a very interesting and quite an exciting thing to do as well, because now they get to think about the coaching effect in groups, in teams, right? You go beyond the work you do with an individual. You can scale your coaching ideas and the programs that you want to offer, which is quite exciting, I would say.
Absolutely, it's very exciting. And then we talk a lot about adding science and stuff into coaching. So how can you maybe scientifically measure whether or not coaching is actually working, and what kind of results are clients seeking?
Yeah, this is our biggest burden of proof. We understand that when we say that coaching is often still seen just as a science, or just as an art form and not yet as a science, we also understand that this is exactly where there's a barrier for companies to make a confident investment in coaching and to really use it as the instrument, the way that we offer it. And the way we answer it is quite, I would say, it's lightweight, but it is quite sturdy. We use OKRs, the goal setting framework, objectives and key results, to set big qualitative goals with a set of quantitative key metrics. And the way we get these metrics is usually by looking at existing HR data or existing company data. Lots of companies already track plenty of metrics. If they are not present, we will create, let's say, a benchmark survey to really know where we are today. And we will look at NPS scores, we'll look at retention rates, we'll look at absentee days, we'll look at maybe project delivery or the success rate of strategic initiatives on time and on target. Again, really depends on the company. But we do this when we start, and at the same time, because we have the organizational part, also the coaching part, we also do this with the individuals that we work with. We create an objective, we add some key results so that we know where we're headed, but we also know exactly at any given time if we are making progress towards the goal, and if and when we have achieved our goals, right? And because we work with quarterly cycles, there's a quick pulse, pre-assessment, post-assessment. And at the end of every quarter, which is our performance cycle, we report on progress. We report on those, let's say, the metrics that are most important and really move the needle for you. Whether that is topics that have been covered, whether that is retention of knowledge, confidence in skill, application in daily work. It can be really focused and quite granular if you want it to be.
I love that. I love the both macro and micro approach to kind of checking in on this and seeing how it's working for the clients. It must cause or provide a level of reassurance for your clients.
Yeah. I really think that this way we can every quarter in pure numbers show the return on investment for our clients, and I think that is just what makes it such a powerful tool.
I love it.
It's very clean,
and it's adding science to coaching, right? That's the Morph, special sauce. So if we're going to look ahead now into the future, can you share a little bit more about what's this bigger vision you're building towards with Morph?
Yeah. I think it has a couple of layers, this answer. But first and foremost, we really would like to see our model take root and scale in a bunch of organizations in Belgium. We are very ready. We're really excited to scale our operations there and have some early success cases, because we have the model. And now by doing the work and collecting the data, that allows us to prove exactly how well the work we do, what the impact is. And because we have this methodology that we work, we like to call this morphology. This is, let's say, all the elements that we mentioned before put together. We want to quantify what the actual impact is of the work that we do and the value of morphology. So that is one. And I think with the work that we do and it being so, let's say, data driven, we would love to partner up with academia, maybe in the recent future. This is a long shot, or let's say on the long term, but quantitative data, right? Doing these types of interventions, making things measurable. I know it's a big call in the research world today. This is how we can move the discipline of coaching really forward. So I see a partnership for us somewhere down the line. But like I said, First things first, we want to be very successful in Belgium. We have big plans to roll out in the Netherlands somewhere next year. And I know that we have a broad horizon within Europe. We have big plans. Yeah, big plans.
I love it. You know, you talk about scalability at an organization level, but it sounds like you're applying that same principle to Morph, you know, starting local and then scaling out wider. And I'm so excited to see where Morph goes into the future and where we morph into.
Yeah, no, spot on. We like to fail fast or fail early, learn fast. I always forget how to say this, but we do. We work in a very experimental way. We learn fast as we go. We build on successes, and yeah, indeed, once we have a successful operation here, I think it is a very exciting idea to roll it out elsewhere, but maybe with a bit more efficiency, right? And a bit more wisdom.
Oh, it's been such an exciting conversation, getting to hear the beginnings of Morph, getting to hear your story today, boss. Is there anything else you would like to share with our listeners before we sign off?
Yeah, as if we haven't done enough self-promotion this past half hour. Of course, I want to openly invite everyone to reach out if this conversation sparked anything for you. If you want to continue the conversation, you have ideas, maybe you have a need. You work in an organization that really needs what we do, or a team that could really use a boost. Please drop us a line. We're reachable on basically any platform out there, and we are very happy to continue the conversation with you.
Amazing. Thank you guys so much, and we'll see you next time.
See ya. And Allie, thank you very much for today.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Coach's Corner, brought to you by Morph. If today's conversation sparked something for you, a question, an idea, or even a request, please don't hesitate to reach out. We'd love to keep the conversation going. Curious to learn more about our work? Head over to morphorg.be to explore more. Until next time, let's keep rethinking what coaching can be and morph into a better you.